The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show. What up, Cleaning Nation? Good to see you. It is Lindsay Bjorklund and myself going live, as is our custom. If you are listening to the podcast and want to join live, just join the Facebook group. It's free. Search Grow My Cleaning Company Facebook group. Will come up. It'll be there. You can join us live. That said, Nina Burris had such a good question. Lindsay made the executive decision to do a whole episode on this specific question. So today we're going to talk about how to grow a cleaning company in a city that's over 3 hours away. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to jump in. Lindsay is going to ask questions, make fun, crack wise as she sees fit. Man, I got to stop showing up to these drunk. I got to tell you. All right. So let's talk about that. First and foremost, there's two ways to do it. One is just starting a cleaning company in a different city from scratch, which I wouldn't recommend so much. The other is getting your cleaning company live and up and on its feet and then moving, which is ideal. And the third would be kind of where it's like, I've got one going here, I'm going to start another one somewhere else and hope for the best. So that said, and the beautiful thing, COVID was rough, but one of the good things about it is people are a lot more, not just tolerant, but like welcoming of Zoom type meetings. So if you have we're going to answer Nina's question first. I believe she's got a cleaning company now, and there's another job in a different area. So I would say chicken and the egg here. I would not recommend, I got a job in another area and I took the job, so that's why I'm going to go. That's really reactive. And if you've got good enough marketing, it really just shows you're like not confident in your ability to market, right? So just take the clients that you want, and that's that. I don't love just like, well, I got a job, so I moved, right? Kind of reactive and molding your business to what you see as the opportunities around, not the opportunities in the world around to the goals of your business, which is what an entrepreneur should do as your job. So my strong preference would be you decide that you'd like to move. Let's just talk about that for a second. Many people want to go into another area. They say because they think they can grow faster. And we're going to talk about that. And the reality is it's almost always an ego thing, right? They just feel like they would be cool if they had two locations. Spoiler alert, there's nothing wrong with having an ego. Just don't be fooled into thinking this is the fastest way to growth, right? If you're like, it just sounds cool. I don't care if it's a headache. It would be fun. I just want to do it because I think it'd be cool. God bless. We'll talk about that. But what most people do is they tell themselves what I would consider to be a lie in 90% of the circumstance, which is I'll grow faster if I move into another area. So let's just do a little bit of math. If you are residential and you're in a small town of 20,000 people and you only want the top, and of those 20,000 is only 10,000 households, just kind of making up some numbers. And of those 10,000 households, you only want the top 20% of them, right? In terms of income, home value, all that. That's still 2,000 owners of cleaning companies, 2,000 potential clients. Most of the time when I ask people when we do these numbers, well, how many clients do you have? They're like 23. And so, okay, so which do you think would be easier, to have the 2,000 or the 1,977 remaining clients, prospects in your area, to get one of those, or to go all the way hours away to get a different? It's an obvious answer, right? So I typically don't even want to consider thinking about different markets till I've got at least 10%, right? I'd want to have 200 in that scenario before and I'm not saying at 200 you immediately move. Before I even have the conversation would be to have 200. So if you just do the math, it's almost always an ego thing, not this is the fastest path to growth, which is fine. Just if you're going to make an ego move, right? Just own that that's what you want. So we'll go the other way and assume I've got my business up now here, but I'd like to move. Right. And I know it's going to be inconvenient. This isn't the fastest way to grow my business, but I'd like to move. Okay. Well, that's a different thing because I definitely am a big fan of having your business support you. And if you're like, well, I live here and I want to move there, great. So the first thing I would encourage you, most people just assume what they need to do is, well, I'm in Phoenix and I want to move to New York, so I guess I should start a new cleaning company in New York. What I'd coach you to do is, let's just run your cleaning company remotely and scale it remotely. You don't have to be there. And then give that 6 months. And if you're like, because same thing, once that thing's growing well in location one, it's not necessarily true going from scratch is going to be as fast as it is just to grow the one. Even when you're not physically there, you'll probably grow faster with the thing that you've already got, because you got some name recognitions, you got some systems, you got some processes. Again, with my business, I'm here currently in Scottsdale. Lindsay's in New Jersey. Doesn't really, sometimes I travel and I'll do these lives from another place. I don't switch where it doesn't really have anything to do with anything, right? So yeah. So let's really talk about how to build your current business so you can run from anywhere. And then the steps or modifications to build a business from somewhere else from scratch, which I don't love, would be similar. So I think that's probably the best use case is, I have a business here. I would like to move there. Instead of starting a whole new business there, I'm just going to keep the business I have running. That's been a long rant. I don't think Lindsay said a word. So those of you guys that aren't watching the video, maybe Lindsay's tied up hostage and she's not even here able to speak. Those of you know, yes, if you're on the podcast, maybe Lindsay doesn't exist. Maybe but video people know. Lindsay, anything I'm missing or anything you'd like to hone, or questions that you've seen people ask, or any direction you want this to go?
So I'm here. I'm not being held hostage. Just to confirm for audio land.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So yeah, well, when you were outlining everything, my thought process was, okay, to me, it sounds like Mike is going in this direction where you want to hone in on your current business and get that just situated, just get those systems running before you're going to go either move or spread to a different town. Am I getting that right? Like, we're going to tighten everything up first? Is that the track we're going?
That's exactly what I would do.
Just making sure I'm tracking with you. Okay.
And once you've done that, the best way to move is just to stop showing up for a little bit. Do a test run. So let's say I'm moving in 6 months. Mm-hmm. I might just take a couple days where, I'm not going to show up on Fridays, and then I won't show up on Mondays and Fridays. And then I'm going to not show up for a week, or just physically not go in. So you can kind of start running your business remotely, even if you happen to be right next to it, right? So you can start having your customer happiness manager run your weekly meetings, or you're going to want to have a salesperson hired. So you don't have to wait to move to feel like what it's going to be like to run it remotely. Just pretend and go, I may be here, but I'm refusing to do any in-person activities, and that's the best way. And I'm going to tell you how to make that transition, but just testing it. And then you can be like, all right, I tried week 1. I tried not to do any in-person activities, and I got caught up on one sales call and one, we had a company party or something like that. Whatever you did, you decided to go to. Great. Now we just have 2 things we need to systematize out. So the good thing is the way that we teach is really set up for this anyway. So if you just kind of follow the systems that we teach, you're generally going to be able to run it remotely, because the only 2 types of people you're generally going to see are customers and employees, right? So vendors are pretty comfortable doing business over the phone or Zoom or over email, or whatever the case may be. So really, when you narrow it down, it's just customers and employees. So customers really shouldn't need to see you physically in person after the sales call. And for the sales calls, if you guys have been listening, we advocate for in-person sales calls, but not necessarily by the owner on the residential side. So on the commercial side, you certainly, I know there's a physicality so on the residential side, you can literally either have a salesperson, which is what I'd recommend. You can have them kind of give you a tour, so to speak, on Zoom, but I would hire a salesperson before I left. And I'd probably have a backup salesperson. Like, I don't like cleaners doing sales, but customer happiness manager, you can have other administrative positions trained for that job. On the commercial side, there is a physical, like, someone needs to be on site. That someone just doesn't need to be you, and it doesn't need to be a salesperson, right? It can absolutely be an administrator who's just measuring and counting square footage of tile, carpet, bathrooms, all that. So the sales conversation can absolutely be done by Zoom, right? You can absolutely have that conversation. So you can tell the guy or gal, whoever you're dealing with, sales process exactly the same. Just instead of going down there, you go, I'm going to have my guy get all the measurements and all that. And then we'll spend 20 minutes on a call to get clear on what it is you want. We'll figure out next steps. So that should take care of the customer sales side. Rarely, if ever, is there a thing where you as the owner need to be there for customer service, right? For both residential, commercial, we recommend a customer happiness manager. They should be in town. And unless and until you hire that customer happiness manager, you are the customer happiness manager. So if you're not in town, that obviously presents a problem. But you can do the customer happiness job from afar. It's just not quite as clean. I would definitely recommend having someone because sometimes you do physically want to go there. The other thing the customer happiness manager does that is kind of local is running the weekly meetings. If I was local to my business, I would have the weekly meetings run without me when I was out of town in person. If I was going to move, I would probably run the weekly meeting. I do run the weekly meetings with my virtual team via Zoom. So that kind of handles the customers, the employees, all that sort of stuff. That said, Lindsay, since you're on our team, and again, I get my business is a little different virtually because the service we provide is not in person. And obviously to clean, you have to physically be there. But on the team side, it can be very similar. Building a culture, knowing your people, all that sort of good stuff happens. So how does it feel from your perspective, Lindsay? Do you feel like you're not part of the team? Do you like it better? Do you not like it? Like, how are you experiencing the virtual piece of this?
Yeah, so one of our core values is be real, and the other one that I love is have fun. And I feel like those two go really well together and are important to us to work remotely. So we're super real on Slack. I never Slack anyone on our team and feel like I have to like tiptoe around or anything. We're very clear with communication, I feel like. And we still have a lot of fun. Like it just emojis, there's gifs everywhere. Like I feel like there's nothing missing from our culture that is missing from Slack or Zoom that I don't get when I see you in person. Or did I just say that backwards? I don't know, but you get what I mean, I think.
Hey, amazing people, you may have noticed we don't sell a dadgum thing on this podcast. We don't allow ads. The only ask I can ever have of you guys is if you dig the show, for you to spread the word and share so we can change as many lives as possible. Literally, it'll take you 5 seconds to give us a great review, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you as a listener and value the gift of your kind words. Now, back to the show. So, A, thank you for sharing that. B, just full disclosure, we have live events for our higher end clients 3 times a year. So we do get to see each other then. And I do think it adds, but I wouldn't say at all like we couldn't function or our turnover would be higher. Like I think it's just better and fun because I love you guys and I like seeing you in person, but it's more of a preference than it is I need this to operate the business. So long story short, I think the summary, and then Lindsay, you can ask any questions you like or poke at it. The summary is the way that we think about our business is so many of us like, I got to be the last one to leave and the first one there. And I got to show everyone how I work. I was actually doing a podcast with Suzanne earlier today. And I think she made a really good point that your team doesn't really care how hard you're working. They care that you're getting customers, you're casting the vision, you're protecting them, you're making sure their life is like you're doing your job. We think it's about us. Like Lindsay's like, how hard are you working? What are you doing? I love Lindsay and I think she loves me, but she didn't give a crap about me. Like if I'm working or not working, she's like, is my paycheck going to clear? Like, are we moving forward in a direction that am I a part of a team that I feel like I'm contributing and am I getting value and do I like it? Like it's a lot of Lindsay centered question because it's Lindsay, right? So give yourself permission to just be like, I promise your employees, I shouldn't say promise. If you've got employees that are really concerned about what you're doing versus what they're doing, they're probably the wrong employee first. And second, they're concerned about them as well. They should be. So if I create a beautiful environment for Lindsay to contribute to and she gets paid well and she loves what she does, if I can do that in 9 minutes a week or 70 hours a week, I don't know that she's particularly interested. So we got to shift from, I got to be the example of everything because I couldn't be like Lindsay is so much better at her job than I am. So I can't be like, follow me. Sometimes in thinking about things, I can give her some leadership, but on the day-to-day specifics, I follow her. Like she is better at her job than I. So there's not a lot of stop doing it this way, do it my way. It's a lot of, oh, I would have done it a different way. That is super stupid. I'm glad that we're doing it your way. So just shift the thinking from the weight being on you as you have to demonstrate everything or even have all the ideas to, on the admin side at least, to just hiring great people and making sure that they feel supported. And, like Lindsay just said, I don't know that she's like, I need to see your physical body in the space that I am in consistently to feel support. Like, I don't know why, depending on if I've showered, it might be that might only be able to hurt me, right? Like, who knows? So I think the big thing is, the first and foremost, we got to philosophically make that break of, my body has to be in the same space as their body to build this, which is not the case. Obviously, for the time being, your body does need to be in the space if you're going to physically clean something. But as soon as you're extradited from the cleaning, that's really the only thing that has to be done in person. Even quality control, customer happiness, that should be done in person. But if you had to, you can do it virtually. The weekly meetings where we're kind of giving some energy, that should really be done in person. But again, Lindsay said all of our meetings are held virtually. And if we were all together in the same physical place, of course we'd be together and it would be better. But it is what it is. So I guess the steps, and I'll open it up to Lindsay for any questions. First and foremost, shift your mind from the value you bring from, I physically have to be working or demonstrating some sort of work ethic, to I have to demonstrate the culture and the value. So Lindsay's able to see that I have fun, I'm real, I love helping out, we're good at making money, whether I'm physically near her or not. That's important. So first and foremost, shift your value, what you bring, to casting the vision and setting the tone for the culture, not demonstrating work ethic or here's how you do stuff, or because I don't even really care about work ethic. As long as our clients are as long as we're having fun making money for our clients and ourselves, being real and helping out, I don't care if Lindsay works 2 hours a week or not. Some of the things she does requires work, and that's fine, but I hold her accountable to values and the outcomes, not the like how much you're working, and vice versa. She sees I work hard sometimes and she's like, great, I'm glad Mike's doing his thing. And she says I work very little, if at all. Sometimes, like, doesn't bother me. Things, I'm getting my life. So first, shift the mindset. Second, start running your company while you're still there virtually, right? Like, even if my team was here in Phoenix, I could just start saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to do the weekly meetings. I'm going to have, Suzanne run them, or whatever the case may be, or we're going to have to do them virtually. And the team would probably go, okay. Like, I don't think they'd riot in the streets. They'd be like, well, then I guess that'll just be that. So you can start running it virtually, and just realize the only touch points you really need is customers and employees. Employees, as long as you've got systems and processes to create culture and make sure everyone's on vision. Ideal to do that in person, but not required. And for customers, on the commercial side, you don't physically have to be there to get them signed up. On the residential side, you still don't have to be there, but somebody should probably be there. You could do a Zoom if you have to, but a salesperson's ideal. And then for the that's at the front end. On the ongoing stuff, same thing, customer happiness manager on site, ideal, but it could be done over the phone or Zoom if need be. So I think it's a very big, very top level, best I could do in the time we got. Lindsay, what am I missing? What made most sense? What sounded like it was full of crap? Talk to me.
Okay, so this is hard for me because we've been remote. Well, I've been with you for almost 5 years now, and we've been remote the whole time. So I'm totally biased on this. So I'm trying to put myself in a cleaning company owner's shoes right now. And the thing I have the most difficulty with and understanding is for the commercial side. And you did explain it. Maybe it's just my mentality, but I feel like it would be weird to have one person go in and measure, and then for me to call remotely, or, to call remotely and be like, okay, but I wasn't there. I don't know. To me, that just, honestly, just being real, it feels weird to me. So just walk me through that a little bit.
I love that, because Lindsay's only partly insane. So there has to be at least 4% of the audience that also feel weird. That's also crazy. So we'll speak to that minority or majority. And again, so much of this is how you frame it in your mind, right? So the way you just laid it out does sound a little funky. Like, this guy measures and this guy has the bid. Like, that seems weird. What's going on? Another way to frame it would be, I think I would frame it actually where it gives you more authority, not less. So when you go to the doctor's office and you got to see the nurse before you can talk to the doctor, and she's like, what's your weight? And get on the thing, and I'm going to take some blood. And you sit here and wait, and the doctor will come in. You don't be like, kind of scam is this doctor? You'd be like, wow, he must be very busy. He's got other people doing the unimportant tasks that are, I don't want to say below him, but require less of a skill set than what he has. So when he comes in, I'm a little more stand up straight. Well, partly because I'm in that little gown and I'm feeling a little, awkward about my my nudity. But also because, like, wow, this guy's got, and he's like business-like, and hey, let's go. I got 16 other clients. You were set up and ready to roll. Let's roll. So if we come in with that energy, it's typically, and you just explain, hey, Lindsay, appreciate the time. I know, Steve came out and did the measurements. He's gone over the space, but that's only part of the equation. The real equation is understanding why you're making a change, what problem you're trying to solve. And before I am presumptuous enough to try and give you a bid to solve a problem I don't understand, I thought we could have a quick 15-minute conversation. Don't worry about the data, the square footage. We got all that. We'll handle it. I'm more interested in you. So what's going on? Why is there a change in your life? And boom, Lindsay's already nodding. Fake Lindsay being a fake buyer is like, this all makes sense.
Yeah. As soon as I stopped talking and asking that question, I'm like, oh, he's going to go in a doctor frame. I know it. I just know it. No.
Next week, Lindsay is going to both ask and answer her own questions, and I will be tied up in an attic somewhere.
We'll have Natalie help put you, make you hostage. Yeah, so that makes a lot more sense. And I think too, there's probably like a pre-frame that goes into it too, like to set expectations of how the sales process is going to go. And if they expect they expect you not to be the person coming in and walking through, and the nurse position, I'm doing air quotes here, if they come in and know that person's not going to be giving them quote, you are over the phone or over Zoom, that makes more sense. So
yeah, so I kind of role played what that would look like when I had the sales conversation with Lindsay, what that would look like from the nurse or the other person, the estimator is what I would call them. He would just walk in, knock on the door. Hey, Lindsay, it's Steve. Like whoever set, and by the way, we teach to set the call so that this is all going to be set up in the previous call. But hey, I'm just here to measure. I know you and Mike are going to talk about the real problems of what's going on. If I have any questions about the physicality of the building, I'll come grab you for a second, but no need here. I'm going to measure everything. Anything you need me to know about what we are or are not cleaning or is not in the scope, cool, fine. And then he just goes. So it really just creates more authority because he's like, hey, I'm just here to do the grunt work. Mike's going to do the thinking, or Lindsay's, whoever the next person is. So the big thing is set. And here's a little bonus, guys. You can do anything you want as long as you set expectations properly, right? A lot of people, like we talk about hiring part-time because everyone says they want 40 hours a week until you give them 40 hours a week and they drop dead and get pissed off. So people are like, well, no one's going to want to work for 15 hours a week. Well, not if you told them you're going to give them 40, but if you set expectations, hey, we only work 15 hours a week. We're looking for people looking for supplemental income, not trying to raise 3 kids and have a mortgage. Like, I need more money. Okie dokie, this isn't for you. And the fact that 82% are like, I need a full-time gig. Well, that's fine. The 17% is probably more than enough than you're going to need. Same thing goes with pricing. I don't want to talk to you. I just want a price. I can't give you a price to solve a problem I don't understand. Well, I'm not going to tell you anything. Okay, well, call me when you're really committed to solving this thing and we'll talk. So you can do whatever you want with your clients as long as you're honest with them and tell them up front. You set the frame and they go, yeah, I'm into that. That makes sense. So anytime you feel funky about raising prices, I'm not going to pay that. Okie dokie, I'll take you off the schedule. Well, I still want you guys to clean. Here's the new price. Well, I'm not going to pay it. Okie dokie, I'll take you off the it's not real tricky. All right. Anything else I missed, Lindsay, or you want to add to my insane rant?
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. It was such a good question this week. I love that we could do a deep dive on it.
Yeah, it is fun now and again to go deeper on one topic as opposed to try and field 2 or 3 or 4 questions. All right, guys, gals, if the concepts on this make sense and you are, even if you're not trying to run your business from somewhere else right now, but you're like, I'd like a business that ran without me and didn't depend on me to do every gosh darn thing, feel free to reach out, ask for a hand. You can just email me direct if you want, mike@growmycleaningcompany.com, follow us on Insta, Facebook group, whatever. We're here to help. Reach out, say, hey, talk soon. See ya. Well, here we are, the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. That's 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.